we have the synthesis of the universal and the particular, the physics of the total individuality, which has three subsections. A, shape, or Gestalt. B, the particularization or properties of the individual shaped body. And C, the chemical process of combination and dissociation. Of most importance in this section is that each of the subsections illustrate the concept and the unity of opposites, namely, qua shape and magnetism, the electrical process, and the chemical process. And the difference between magnetism and the other two is that magnetism, the magnet, exhibits the unity of opposites in just one body, while the electrical and chemical processes both require two bodies. A few remarks. First, about A, shape, Gestalt. With shape, matter becomes a freely determining individuality, where form manifests itself through its own activity, in opposition to gravity. As Hegel says, page 160 to 161, quote, whereas inwardness previously revealed itself only through an outer stimulus and as a reaction against it, here, on the other hand, form manifests itself neither through an outer force nor as destruction of materiality, as in sound and heat. But without stimulus, the body contains in itself a secret, silent master geometrician, which, as an all-pervading form, organizes it both outwardly and inwardly. This limitation, both outward and inward, is necessary to individuality. Thus, the surface, too, of body is bounded by form. It is shut off from other bodies and shows its specific determinacy without external action in its quiescent subsistence. A crystal, diamond, indeed is not mechanically compounded. Nevertheless, mechanism is resumed here, an individual mechanism, just because this sphere is the quiescent subsistence of the separated parts, even though the connection of the parts with the center is determined by immanent form. Body so formed is removed from the influence of gravity. Body grows, for example, upwards against gravity. The examination of natural crystals reveals them to be articulated through and through. However, we have not soul here yet. This we'll find in life. Why? Since individuality here is not yet objective to itself. And that is the difference of the inorganic from the organic. Individuality is not yet subjectivity. That's where we're going towards. If it were, the infinite form, the concept, which differentiates itself and holds its differences together, would also be there before itself. This takes place only in the sentient creature. But here, individuality is still submerged in matter. It is not yet free. It only is. As stated, magnetism perfectly exhibits the concept and the unity of opposites. In Hegel's words, page 163, magnetism is one of the determinations which inevitably became prominent when the presence of the concept was suspected in specific natural phenomena and the idea of a philosophy of nature was grasped. For the magnet exhibits in simple, naive fashion the nature of the concept, and the concept, moreover, in its developed form as a syllogism. C.F. Hegel notes, paragraph 181. The poles of the magnet are the sensibly existent ends of a real line, of a bar, or also in a body, extending further in every dimension, especially the planet Earth as a whole. But as poles, they have no sensible mechanical reality, but only an ideal one, and they are absolutely inseparable. The point of indifference, their center point, where they have their substance, is the unity where they exist as determinations of the concept, so that they have meaning and existence solely in this unity, i.e. the poles. Polarity is the relation only of such moments. Some remarks on B, the particularization or properties of the individual-shaped body. The four conceptual properties of individual bodies are: 1, color, corresponding with light and air; 2, odor, which corresponds with fire; 3, taste, correlating with water; and 4, electricity, which correlates with earth. Concerning electricity, which also exhibits the concept and the unity of opposites, Hegel says the following, page 226. Electricity, quote, makes an appearance wherever two bodies come into contact, especially when they are rubbed. Electricity, therefore, does not merely attach to the electrical machine, but every pressure, every blow, says Hegel, produces electrical tension. Contact, however, is the condition for this. Electricity is not a specific, particular phenomenon which occurs only in amber, shellac, etc. Electricity attaches, on the contrary, to every body in contact with another body. It is only a question of having a very fine electrometer to convince oneself of this. The angry self of body comes forth from every body when excited. And now just a few remarks on C, the chemical process, which also exhibits the concept and the unity of opposites, and is on the threshold of life. The process consists in combination of two opposites, resulting in a neutral product, in which all the properties of the two bodies have vanished, been negated, and their subsequent dissociation where their properties are reinstated. So, we move from separation to unity, and from unity to separation, which is precisely the concept. As Hegel says, we would be in the presence of life if this movement was self-initiated, but it's not. Someone has to bring together the two bodies and elements to produce a chemical reaction. The chemical process is best illustrated with the interaction of an acid and a base, or alkaline, a plus and a minus, as in electricity and magnetism. For example, we have heartburn or acid reflux, stomach or hydrochloric acid within our stomach. And to get relief, what do? We neutralize the acid by ingesting magnesium hydroxide or milk of magnesia. Hegel beautifully summarizes the chemical process thus. On page 233, quote, says Hegel, to understand the general position and nature of the chemical process, we must look forwards and backwards. Chemical process is the third stage in the process of shape. The second was differentiated shape and its abstract process, electricity. We also had a process in shape before it achieved completeness and neutrality, namely magnetism. If shape is the unity of concept and reality, then magnetism, as at first only abstract activity, is the concept of shape. The second stage, the particularization of shape within itself and against another, is electricity. The third stage is the self-realizing unrest of the chemical process as the veritable reality of the concept in this sphere. As in magnetism, in chemistry, there is one form which sunders itself, separates itself into differences, and exists as a unity. Yet it does not stop there. In magnetism, the difference is manifest in one body, as we said in the beginning. In electricity, each difference belongs to a separate body. Each difference, positive, negative, is self-subsistent, and the whole shape does not enter into this process. Chemical process is the totality of the life of inorganic individuality. For here we have whole, physically determined shapes. Bodies enter into the process not merely as having odor, taste, and color, but as being odorous matter, tasting and colored matter. Their relation is not one of movement, but of alteration of the entire different matters, the vanishing of their distinctive characteristics. The abstract relation of the body, which is its light, is not only abstractly, but essentially this particular relation. The whole corporeality, therefore, enters this process. Notice, it's the whole corporeality, all the features, characteristics, determinations, properties of the body. And the chemical process is consequently the real electrical process. Thus we have the whole shape, as in magnetism, though not one whole, but distinct wholes. The two sides into which the form separates itself are thus whole bodies, such as metals, acids, and alkalis, etc. Their truth is that they enter into relation. The electrical moment in the process is that these sides separate themselves out to have their own independent existence. This did not happen in magnetism. The inseparable unity of magnetism likewise dominates the two sides. The identity of both bodies, which makes them return once more to the magnetic relation, is absent from the chemical process. Okay, we will continue this tomorrow when we will also begin our study of organics. Thank you.